You thinking about me
in a poncho? Yeah.
Yeah, in my 20s, I thought maybe I'll wear a poncho and be cool and hip. Like Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi.
Oh, God, yeah.
Welcome to the Completely Unnecessary Podcast for Tuesday, March 23rd, 2021. Spring has sprung.
Spring has sprung.
It's sprung for Ian Ferguson. It's sprung for Pat Contry. On the show today, we'll be talking about lots of fun retro news. The Game Boy Advance 20th anniversary, Video Game Hall of Fame finalists announced. It's like our yearly tradition. It's like a fourth year.
It's fun.
Fourth or fifth year we go through that. PS3 and Vita digital stores shutting down, and some other bric-a-brac of entertainment news.
Miscellany.
Ian, how was your weekend?
It was good.
I like that. It wasn't any hesitation. It was good.
It was good.
It was solid.
It was solid. I worked, which, whatever. But March Madness.
Oh, yeah, you're all about the madness, Ian.
Love the March Madness. Love it. Took my laptop to work on day one so I could stream games.
Is that Friday?
Yeah, that was Friday. And it was funny. It was a slower day.
Madness.
It was a slower day, and everyone who came in was like more than willing to talk basketball because I just had the laptop on the front counter with the basketball games playing. So
you're all in. You won't talk to me about NBA, but you're all in on
it's
college.
different.
Why is it?
It's different. I try. It's different. It feels different. It's a different feeling.
You like the kids that that this is the last game of their lives, potentially.
Exactly.
In front of a TV. They're not getting paid. They're getting used.
They play their hearts out.
Getting used as slave labor, and they're going to go back to their accounting job next year.
I think what it really is, though, and I've had this conversation with people.
It's more pure.
No, I mean, you can make those arguments, and you sound stupid. I hate it when people talk like that. No, it's a more defensive game.
It's more of a team game too. So.
Yes, yeah, it's a more defensive game. It's a like you said, more of a team game.
Because they're not skilled. They don't have the high skills.
They don't have the skills for the blazing offense, so they focus more on the defense. So the games are lower scoring. And yeah, I mean, you miss some of that flash and stuff like that. But I like the way. It's the same game, but different. I like the way it plays out in college
Like
better.
your Detroit Pistons you liked in the early 2000s.
Yes. Yeah, no, exactly. And people always say that when they find out that that's like the early 2000s Detroit Pistons team is like my favorite NBA team, it makes sense to a lot of people who are smarter about sports than I am.
Well, they won in 03 and 04. Was that it? Or 03? They won
I thought it was 02 and 03, but no, you're right. It might have been 03 and 04.
Okay.
Yeah. Great team.
Yeah, and then the Nets got to the finals.
Both Wallaces.
Got destroyed by the Spurs one of those years. That might have been 03. Yeah, the Wallaces, the Wallace twins. They weren't twins. But
no.
What are the odds that Rashid and Ben, both are Wallace?
Sheed and Ben, two of my favorite players. Love Ben, love Sheed. So, yeah, no, it was good. So that's what I've been doing. Round two wrapped up.
Round two
wrapped up yesterday. I'm looking forward to the Sweet 16.
Fight. I saw my first Cadbury Cream Egg commercial. That means the season's upon us, the Easter season.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's right.
And also saw we were talking. We're big Reese's Peanut Butter Cup fans, obviously, and the eggs out. The non-denominational egg. It's not Easter eggs, just the egg. Just the egg. It's not the Christmas tree. It's just a tree.
I'm pro Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, but I give them a lot of tough love.
You better be pro peanut butter cup.
And we've talked about this before. I think the idea of a peanut butter cup is fantastic. My problem is that most of the Reese's peanut butter cups that I have purchased in the past 5 years have been absolute dog trash. Just shit. And it's because when you get a fresh Reese's peanut butter cup, I don't care if I've said this before, the outer chocolate should be shiny and it should have a snap to it. It should be noticeably different in texture between the peanut butter and the chocolate. When peanut butter cups sit around for too long, and the fact that you mentioned this, the sign of a peanut butter cup that is no good, past its prime, you should not eat it, is it gets a cloudy center.
It's like a ring.
It starts to get cloudy.
It gets dried out.
It loses the shine on the top. There's that.
You should be able to press into your peanut butter cup a little bit, into the meaty center, into the flesh.
Yeah, and it should crack. You should not.
It should have moisture in it. It shouldn't be dry.
Your chocolate should not be a fudgy, sludgy mess. It's disgusting.
You're falling off a bit, Ian. Come closer to me, Ian.
Anyway,
show love to Pat.
Yeah, I'm here.
Come to your peanut butter daddy.
All right.
Okay.
Anyway,
so that's good. And now you're a little too far. You don't need to shift your laptop. The angle's all off. There you go.
Whatever.
That's good.
Fine. Here I am. Here I'll be.
Now we're symmetrical.
Here I'll stay.
Okay. I went to the swap meet for the first time with Frank and Frank's buddy Richard, about the same age as Frank. They're like in the early 70s. So the hippies. The hippies.
Have I met Richard?
I don't think you met Richard. He's been coming around more the past couple of years. He was from Massachusetts and moved out here.
Oh, okay.
And he was a thespian. And so Frank and him got double shots like a week and a half ago. So more than a week and a half ago. So they're good to go. Their COVID shots. So they were excited. So they came out. I said, okay, I'm going to go. I hadn't been since I think August. It's been a while since I went. And this is how you know I'm done with it. I didn't get up at 6:30 or even 7. I got up at 8:30 and I was like, do I really got to go? I don't care what deals I missed out of. And there's still, it's definitely hit or miss. The definition of you might hit something or get nothing. In the past, it was, Pat, you're going to find something no matter what, so you better get up because now you have OCD if you don't go. There's a time for about a year and a half, 2 years, I went every Saturday and Sunday. Ian knows this. I went both days.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was like you're losing money by not going to the swap meet because the stuff you'd find.
Yep.
You're like, oh my God, I'm gonna find like a fucking a bag of games for $15, $20. Like that was still happening like 2011, even 2012.
Yeah, and you felt like if you didn't go, you were.
Yes, and the toy stuff.
That's when you were gonna miss something.
Yes.
Good. Yeah.
I got so many GI Joes, carded GI Joes I buy for like $5, $10 each from the 80s. I got Airtight 1985 GI Joe, one of my favorite characters, on the card for like $5, $10. This was like 10 years ago. That's probably worth hundreds of dollars now. Like, plus I love G.I. Joe. I'm not just saying because of the value. Because they were worth something 10 years ago, but not nearly as much.
Right.
So the point is now it sucks. And now I find stuff that it's like household goods. I get excited about, remember I got the ladder like a year and a half ago. I got the little giant.
Uh-huh.
And I was shopping for that online. I have a weird prescient force that like, I'm looking to buy a household thing. When I go, I find it. This has happened more than once. Happened with a shoe rack. So I was looking for something. Or thinking about it, I was like, I was talking to my pal Yoshi, and I was like, I might want to go for heavier gloves in my heavy bag. Go up to I use 8-ounce gloves, go up to 16-ounce to get a little better workout and just to switch it up. I'm too used to the 8-ounce. I was looking online. I go to swap meet. I find them barely use Everlast. I go for like $30, maybe $33. 16-ounce gloves. I find them. And then the guy wants like $15. Like, okay, I'll come back. It's already 9 a.m. So I know like if this was a huge deal or whatever, it would have been gone by 9.
Sure.
But it's a decent deal at $15. So I walk around with Frank in a little bit, and it's just, like I would keep saying the past like 5 years, 6 years, it doesn't have the same feel as it used to. There's a newer Wario, newer retro, younger guy, probably like 40 selling stuff.
A newer Wario.
Because Wario's suffering. Like he's got he's got the same NES games in the back that are decent, but he probably wants $20 each. No one wants them. No one wants to pay $20 for Super C at the swap meet, No. He used to have a Dragon Warrior 2 there, but I still look for the super rare ones that, if you ever had a state events back there or a Little Samson, or I remember I got Zombie Nation in the past, but that's pretty much done. It's there. It's a wrap when it comes to that. But I'll get back to the gloves in a second, but I'm tired of dealing with idiots. And the reason I like the swap meet is that you commiserate with all walks of life, and you talk to people. But if I said this before, the past year exposed how dumb people are over the past, I want say a couple years, definitely during the pandemic, where my patience level for dealing with people that deny things is just gone entirely. But it's happened though with people that I somewhat respected or thought were smart. So what are you laughing for? So there's a couple of sellers of people I'm familiar with that, they're not wearing their mask, and one's behind a curtain. I think I might have brought this one up before, like the sort of like neo-Confederate pusher guy.
Oh,
the hippie that's like the worst type of hippie.
Yeah, I fucking hate those hippies.
But I still try to be friendly with them because it's like, okay, I've known this guy for like 10, 12 years.
It's not worth it.
But he though has come around. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna get vaccinated. But then he brings up like, but I heard about a woman who had a heart attack after she got vaccinated. And it's okay. There are millions upon millions of people getting these vaccinations. Normally, people are gonna have heart attacks or something bad happen. People are like, Robin, you're about, people are getting blood clots. People get blood clots anyway.
Yeah, it's not like this is suddenly happening.
If 17 people out of millions get a blood clot, that's probably like the normal percentage, if not lower. Like, so I'm tired of dealing with these people. I just I'm like, okay, yeah, she had a heart attack. Okay. Okay, she had a heart attack.
Yeah.
After she got her COVID shot. You think she's gonna get that shot? You get that heart attack anyway, or a stroke?
She had that shot. That heart attack never would have happened.
So I'm done with that. And another guy I like, has his mask down, walking around. It's like in defiance, kind of, and he's like, I'm not gonna worry about getting the vaccination. I'm healthy enough, and I'm not too old. And I'm like, I asked how old he was. I was forgetting. He's in his late 50s. It's not young, and the guy's not in the best shape. So I'm just like, come on, man, don't put yourself through this. Get the fucking shot. This isn't. I didn't mean to go this direction, but come on. And these are people I have to try to like,
right?
That I don't want to deal with anymore. So I want to get the shot. That's about. I want to get the shot. Supposedly you can try to go online and like talk about eating. You can go on like Rite Aid or whatever, Walgreens, and try to see if you qualify, even if you're younger. So
yeah, a lot of people I know, and it's not just in California, it's everywhere, are basically going to those scheduling websites and just they're being honest about their what they do as a job. But I think if you just throw enough attempts at various sites, they're going to find a way to squeeze you in because they don't want to waste the vaccines.
That's true.
So I think what they do is they basically look at it and they look at everyone who has applied for the vaccine for that day and they go through, and if there's more vaccines than are necessary for the people who are like in the proper age brackets,
come on in.
They tell you to come on down and get
They don't care
shot.
if you're 12. Come on in.
Right.
Come on in. So I got to look into that. So anyway, back to the boxing gloves. I go back to the boxing gloves.
Back to the gloves.
Back to the gloves. And not people who deny science. Back to the gloves. And Frank was not there. I actually met up with, it was weird. I met up with a couple of guys that I used to pal around the swap meet with. Mm-hmm. And it was like a reunion. Like, oh, I've been seeing you in forever. And I was like, yeah, I come like twice a year now only. So I go back to the gloves. He's still set on 15. I said, give me 10, 15. I was like, okay. It's still a good deal. So I go down to the gloves and they're like used like once. They still have like the new Everlast leather, fake leatherish smell on them. So I start making sure like, okay, these like broken on the inside are good. And I feel around. I feel something on the inside of one. I feel something. Like, oh, what is this? Like a silicate gel pack sort of thing? What is this? Pull it out and it's like a dime bag. Like a third of a Ziploc sandwich bag filled with weed. I don't know if that's a dime anymore or $20 for inflation. And the guy's by his truck, the seller, guy about probably 35, 40, and looking at me, and I hold it up like this, and he doesn't have a response, like his eyes glazed over. I said, do you want this back? And he kind of snickered, and I think he was embarrassed. He was like, oh, yeah. I'm like, well, it's not illegal anymore to have this amount, probably. But here's the point. It's like if I was an asshole, I would have looked at it and said, okay, I'll take it and give you the $15 because I don't know what the weed's worth. Probably $20, 30. I don't know, Ian. You're the weed guy. How much is that much weed worth?
I would have to have seen it.
Like a third of a sandwich bag.
It would highly depend on quality. $20 to $60.
You can roll like 10 joints. I don't know. I'm not a joint expert.
If it was a quarter, depending on the quality, if it was a quarter,
I'm using pat math here. I don't know.
Depending on the quality, you're paying anywhere from like 50 to 100 for that.
Okay.
Probably.
Here's the point. I don't smoke weed. I could give it away, but I don't know the quality. Frank does it. Frank is set. Trust me. Frank has his sources. Frank wouldn't need it. But I was honest. I gave it back. So you know what? He let me get it for $12 because I was honest.
I've smoked Frank's weed before.
Good quality stuff.
Yeah,
right?
He usually has good stuff.
Well, he isn't. In the past, he didn't grow it. Now he's growing it.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah.
So here's the point was, it's like he finally, because I was honest, because most people just take the weed.
Yes.
I was honest. Come on. I even said, come on, I gave this back to you. And he's like, okay, $12. So there you go.
No, that's very nice of you.
What if it was something harder? What if it was like Coke? I was like, oh. Not that I would do it. I'd be curious.
Yeah. Coke curious.
I'd ingest it. You ingest it, and then there's very little harmful side effects because of chemicals, like coca leaves. That's not really not negative side effects to that. You just get a little buzz, like Coca-Cola. That's what it comes from. Sorry, not breaking new ground. You know what's breaking new ground though? Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Please tell us about it.
This is where I earn my pay in the CU podcast, and I'm going to put it for hazard pay to the CU podcast bosses.
I appreciate you taking this one for the team.
Because I really didn't want to, and I almost didn't. But everyone's asking about this. It seems like this is Zack Snyder and the DCEU will never leave the podcast. It's like that cousin that you have to hang out with every once in a while. You can't stand.
Before you jump into it, let me just state my piece because I don't have much to say on this. what I have heard about, and you can verify this, or you can confirm or deny.
Okay.
What I have heard,
just like this UFO on my Into the AM shirt.
From what I have heard, it is, and this is from people whose takes I generally agree with.
Okay.
It is better, but still bad, and it is too long. However, I'm happy that people who wanted this are getting to see it. I hope they enjoy it.
Well,
but that's pretty much I'm never going to watch it.
Zack Snyder's Justice League is both the best argument for and against directors having carte blanche on their project.
Yeah,
because if Zack Snyder got to finish his original movie, it would have probably been a better movie than the Joss Whedon version.
Sure.
Even if it was like 2.5 hours, because the Joss Whedon one's like 2:10 or 2. It's quick and zippy and light and fluffy and forgettable. I saw it on a plane probably at 1 in the morning and I couldn't sleep. I saw it on a plane.
As I think I even said at the time, and I haven't seen the original, 2:10 seems like an insanely short movie for the amount of characters they're trying to cram into.
It's something like 2:10.
Yeah, that's
2:15. It's not.
Nuts.
Let's put it this way: they would not have allowed a 3-hour Zack Snyder's Justice League movie. The studios would not. They would have given it maybe 2.5 hours at most, probably 2:40.
Sure.
They just didn't at that time. This was 2017. This is before Infinity War. This is before Endgame. The ones that and Endgame was like 3 hours, and that was the longest one. Even Civil War though was like under 2.5 hours. So like this would not have gotten that release. So this is what I'm going to say about this movie. It's 73% on the tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes, but it's a lot lower on the the top critics. Rotten Tomatoes has like people from the internet with like vlogs that qualified to be on the tomato meter. I don't know.
It seems like everyone.
It's everyone. It's
everyone.
233 reviewers. I think this was the case of extremely low expectations combined with a hype machine to get this thing seen. So here's the pros of this, and I'm going to say this. This is like a C+. It's like a 6 out of 10. It's not terrible. But it's not a good movie still.
Okay.
It's just not. It doesn't come out as a good movie. Here's the pros and cons. Here's the improvements from the Joss Whedon version, if what I remember. Well, first of all, no rubber Superman lip. Like, I don't know why they had to reshoot that shit. Maybe that was a rule because you only could keep a certain amount of percentage, like with Superman 2. They went back and reshot almost all of Donner's stuff and only kept like 25%. That's the same thing. Supposedly, the Whedon version had like 25-30% of Snyder stuff. The rest was reshot. So, pros and cons. The villain, Steppenwolf, is a lot better. Looks a lot better. He looked horrible, like a fucking PS3 villain in the Joss Whedon version. Looks better. Is given more characterization, different voice. And it's like it's not really a backstory, but this is spoilers, by the way. Who fucking cares?
Spoil away.
Spoil it. The Steppenwolf villain has like a little sort of like backstory in terms of like he failed Darkseid in the past, and so he wants to get back in his good graces. They don't explain the details, but that's why he wants to help conquer Earth and get the fucking 3 plot device boxes. And you put the 3 plot device boxes together, it creates the unity, and that means Darkseid can easily take over the world instead of doing it by force.
Okay.
That's basically what it is. You can easily do it that way with energy and some bullshit. And then there's also Darkseid's in the movie. He wasn't in the Joss Whedon one, so he's there. That's probably a good thing to have. I'll get into the good and bad of that. He shows up as the Thanos type of character. They're basically the same character, and he wants to take over all the worlds. And he wants to find the anti-life formula, which is embedded on the Earth somehow. And when you have that formula, it turns everyone into zombies. It doesn't kill everyone like Thanos. It turns into zombies. You shouldn't have free will. That's basically Darkseid's thing.
Gotcha.
So that's good. Cyborg actually being a character is great because he got the shaft in the Joss Whedon version, and there's people talking about why he did this and that. Was it people didn't get along with Ray Fisher? It might have been a CG thing because Cyborg's all CG showing up less, but Cyborg is an actual character with an arc in this version. So Ray Fisher did get shafted big time.
Right.
He is sort of the glue that sort of holds it together in this version.
Yeah, I've heard that it's kind of like, I saw someone say that it was his story. Or if you had watched the previous one, this one kind of comes off as centric on him because he got nothing in the first one.
Yeah, it's him and the father who basically was the same character in Terminator 2. It was the guy who played, that guy who played the guy at Cyberdyne. That.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So he's the father. I think his name's Silas. There's a lot more of that. too much so, which I'll get into. So that's the good stuff. Here's the bad part. It's without credits over 3 hours 50 minutes. It's a 4-hour movie. There's no reason for this to have been a 4-hour movie. None. Every single thing probably from Zack Snyder's script ended up in the movie, and then some. And then some because they shot fresh footage, which I'll get into. I'm not going to be like, oh, they could have cut an hour off of this. They could have cut 40 minutes off of this.
Sure.
Still, here's the problem: the pacing. So Zack Snyder doesn't know how to use establishing shots for the most part. He likes to linger on shit. So within the first 30 minutes of the movie, there's a couple of things I noticed where it goes on way too long. Where an established shot, if you don't know, is like showing the location. You're far out. You show the city. You show the street. So there was the scene in the Joss version, the bank robbing scene with Wonder Woman, because otherwise there's no action in the first like 40 minutes of the movie, 45 minutes. So they show like a helicopter or drone shot, probably helicopter over whatever. It's like London or some British city. And then, so okay, you got a established shot. It goes on for like 15 seconds, flying around. Then it comes in like medium, where it shows it in the street and the car pulling up, the van pulling up with the bank robbers, or they really want to set up a bomb. Then there's another shot establishing this. So this is like 35 seconds before these guys pull up and get out of the van to go to the bank. That could have been like 15 seconds. Versus, hey Pat, it's only 35 seconds. Yes, but that shit adds up really quickly over a 4-hour movie. 15 seconds here, 20 seconds here. Seeing Bruce Wayne on his horseback on the mountains, beautiful shots on the vistas going to wherever he's visiting Aquaman. It's somewhere in Russia. It's like Siberia. He's going there, some little fishing town somewhere out there. There's so much of these shots of just walking towards stuff and things where it's like, come on, let's go. And then like when Aquaman goes into the water, the townspeople do like this little chant, like they're worshiping him. They chant this little song. The song goes on for almost like a minute. It's like 45 seconds of them chanting this, and Bruce was looking around like, "Well, this is weird." Yeah, it's weird. All you need is like 5-10 seconds of that, and you cut it.
Yeah, we get it.
So this is where you need an editor, and you don't need this is where it's a bad director's cut. And I'm not even talking about little extra, like little scenes that don't make any sense or aren't needed. Like there's a conversation. Martian Manhunter's in this. In 2 scenes, and both aren't needed. Definitely not the first one though. The first one is a conversation. The Martian Manhunter was the general from Man of Steel, if you remember that.
Yeah,
not Christopher Maloney, the African American fellow.
Right.
It was him. He shows up and for no reason talks to Lois Lane, who gets a lot more scenes. Some are needed, some are not. Talks to Lois Lane and then walks out in the hallway and turns into Martian Manhunter for no reason. Just to say, oh, there he is. He doesn't do anything in the movie. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't show up to fight. That's it. Oh. You didn't need that. That was a minute scene. You didn't need that scene at all. At all. It was just, oh, Clark is. You sad about Clark? Okay, I'm leaving. And he walks in the hall. Don't need that scene. Don't need the fans. Don't care. It doesn't mean anything. Don't need it. And then
so cheap pop, basically.
Yes.
It's there for no reason.
But okay. I'm looking at my watch like this is my Saturday watching this movie.
Well, I was gonna say I feel like
I had to watch it in 2 parts too. But it gets better.
Yeah.
There's an epilogue, and by the way, it's so pretentious. It's split into 6 parts where it stops and cuts to a black screen and has a title saying Part 4, Bad People Fight Good People. Part 7, Epilogue. I'm looking at my watch or the computer. I'm like, wow, there's like 25 minutes left to go. I think I tweeted this has more false endings than Return of the King. I don't think I'm kidding about that. There's like
Return of the King is like
there's like 4 endings. This had like 5. There was a montage ending where it shows all the heroes going back to their own thing on their own, which is like, okay, this is a nice ending, and it ends with Clark opening up his shirt. He wears the black suit in this one, which it's cool. I don't see why Joss changed it. He should have kept the black suit. Whatever. People like the black suit. He had it in the comics when it came back to life. Opens up the shirt and the ass, and it pans in. Oh, that's the ending. Oh, no, it's not. There's 20 more minutes to go. There's 20 more fucking minutes to go at this point. So then it goes to the original post-credit scene. Luthor gets out of jail, and then he's on a boat, and then Deathstroke comes. Played by Joe Manganiello, the guy from Magic Mike. That guy, one of those guys, who was originally going to be the Batman standalone with Affleck versus Deathstroke.
Right.
So that scene is not needed anymore because that's not happening. It's not.
So we're just putting that stuff in there to put it on it. Right.
We're tacking the post-credit scene in the epilogue, but now we're going again. We're going to something else. Now we're going to a future, a post-apocalyptic future where it's Batman hanging out with Mira, who's Aquaman's girlfriend buddy. She has the powers pushing the water, and then also with Deathstroke we just saw hanging out with them now, and then also Flash in like a different suit. And there's like a beam in the distance, and it's all a wasteland. So this, I guess, is a reality where Darkseid won. But then they show up to the Joker scene, where Batman they go. We have to talk to Joker. And I'm trying to figure out what's happening. What is happening here? This movie should be over. And then there's a 5 to 6 minute conversation with Joker and Batman, where they establish a truce by giving him a Joker card. I can't make up how bad this writing is. A truce for Bruce. And gives him a card. And all I'm thinking about is what is happening? Why are they going to talk to the Joker? Is the Joker going to help him defeat Darkseid? The Joker's just a guy in clown makeup with some joy buzzer stuff that'll electrocute you. He's a normal guy. He ain't going to help you.
Got some smarts, but that's about it.
He's not going to help you defeat Darkseid.
Right.
He's not going to tip the scales. And it doesn't do anything. And then what happens? It's a dream sequence. Bruce wakes up. So this is some of the new stuff they shot. This is some of the new stuff because they brought back Jared Leto and some of the actors. This was a masturbatory jerk off scene. That's redundant. Just to do it. Affleck gets up and he's on a lake, a nice place. Then guess who shows up? Martian Manhunter shows up. Say, hey, I've been watching you guys. And it's time for me to help. I don't know why I didn't help before, because the world was going to end. And then he flies off, and that's the real end of the movie. And I was like, this movie had such a chance for me to like it until it just became, I'm just going to, as he was go, jerk off all over the place. It was a jerk off movie.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Well.
Pacing was awful. The characters still get better and worse. Aquaman does not need to be in the movie at all. Aquaman does fuck all. Does fuck all in the movie. He stops water once with his trident. That's all he does.
Says my man.
He still says my man. They change it. It's no longer the ride ain't over yet. My man. It's you're welcome. My man. So it's a little more subtle. No booyah stuff from Cyborg. Like it's a little more grounded. He's like a real character.
That's good.
Yeah. The writing is still bad. That's the problem with this. The writing is still bad and the pacing is bad. So, and there's not going to be a continuation of this branch of the DCEU. That's done.
Right.
They said that. They're just trying to say, well, we can get that sequel, post-apocalyptic, like what if sequel? That's really Affleck's dream. And it's just, no, there's no reason. This should have been a 3-hour movie. I would have liked a lot more if it was 3 hours and cut out. To have a title saying epilogue and then you have 20 to 25 more minutes to go. That was it for me. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
It's a pretty long epilogue.
You got to be kidding. But Flash got a little bit more. He got a nice scene that should have been there originally. I'm not saying the Joss Whedon version is better. I'm not saying that. But this version needed an editor. This version needed an editor, and someone would say, Zach, baby, enough. We don't need Jared Leto Joker Jesus in this.
Jared Leto Joker Jesus.
He's not coming back as a character. They'll force Joaquin in it or recast again. It's fine. I know we wanted to see Deathstroke. We don't see that movie. That's basically what it was. I'm going to throw everything in here just to do it. It was multiple. It was fan service. That's all it was.
All right.
I like Pizza Hut, Ian. They're doing a Pac-Man augmented reality thing.
Yep.
So they're doing commercials. They were doing commercials for it with Craig Robinson. You know Craig Robinson.
Sure.
And then he was playing on a cocktail. Pac-Man saying, imagine eating just all those dots. I like eating Pizza Hut or something. I was like, why are they doing this Pac-Man? It doesn't make any sense. On a cocktail. It's like a 40-year-old thing. I couldn't figure it out at the time.
The only reason I can think of is because if you talk to people, and I know that my local Pizza Hut had one, lots of people, in my experience, seem to have memories of Pac-Man cocktail tables at Pizza Huts.
That was a thing because they
so my only, but that's a weak link, but the only reason I could think of them having that is because old people like us tend to remember them having cocktail tables at Pizza Hut.
You would remember that in the late 80s? I'm still having that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's not. Well, that's
also
not,
the only place I ever saw a Pac-Man Jr. arcade machine.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, that's not why they did this. So they're doing an augmented reality little app thing where your pizza you get has a Pac-Man board on the front of it. And you use your phone to play a Pac-Man game using the Pizza Hut box. They don't mention that in the commercial. I just thought that was funny. Okay, that's actually clever. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's neat.
That makes sense. That's all it is. There you go. It's peak retro-ness, which started happening like 5 years ago. 2016. It was like retro is mainstream now. Everyone. 15, definitely 16 with the NES Classic. It's mainstream now.
You want to plug some goods?
Yeah, I want to augment your reality at ultimatenintendo.com, where you can get certain NES and SNES guidebooks. You can get pins, RBI baseball stickers. You can get T-shirts. We got some T-shirts left in limited sizes.
You know what you can't get there anymore?
What's that?
Wristbands. You sold them all.
Yeah, I'm keeping the last two. Why'd you bring that up for?
I don't know. Just you can't get those there anymore.
I sold them out after.
Sold them out.
I sold them out last year after about
a decade.
Not quite.
I'm
8
just
years.
Fucking with you. Yes.
No, you can always say, "Oh, you're never going to sell those." No, I sell them. Well, some got stolen at a convention. That's all their conversation.
Who steals wristbands?
I don't know. It was a bundle of them there. They stole like 75 wristbands.
It's one of those things where you walk.
So I still would have had them.
I swear to God, you get like 2 tables away, and you go, "Why the fuck did I do that? Like, who does that?"
Because
shit?
they were there. They weren't hidden.
Right.
That was like 2000. That was like 2015. That was pre NES book. That's how I define my life. Pre guidebook times. And I'm also on Cameo. Camo.com/PatContry and Twitch Wednesday night, twitch.tv/Contry Code. It's heating up. It's heating up. It's heating up. But real quick on the Cameo thing, real quick story. On the Cameo, if you want to get a Cameo request, I will tell you what not to request here. Okay. I'm not going to say the identity. It was a woman that requested this, and if they hear this, I'm sorry, it's too funny. So you can send a request straight up, or you can send a DM. Which there's sometimes you can charge or not. So they said, "Hi, I was wondering if you could do a video for my friend's birthday. If possible, can you show the soles of your feet in the video? It's an inside joke. LOL. No. She can't stand it when her boyfriend puts his bare feet near her. LOL. So can you put yours right in front?" So of course I was a little skeptical about this request for the friends. Yeah. LOL. Yeah.
It's a joke.
Showing these not just feet, these soles of your feet.
Yes.
Very specific, right? Mm-hmm, not just your boyfriend doesn't like feet. Soles of your feet.
Very fetishy.
So this was my response here. I try to be reasonable. I try to do the right thing. I try to give people a chance. I try to make sure that I'm not. You gotta treat people with respect a little bit, but there's also a line. So I said, no, I don't. I can't do that. And then the response, then why have a Cameo?
This isn't an OnlyFans.
My Cameo is not for showing my feet. This isn't OnlyFans. That's exactly what I said, Ian. And then the response was, WTF, this isn't a fetish request. We're both huge fans, and I thought it would be a funny gift for someone going through so much right now. Kinda sucks. Soles of my feet is not funny, and that definitely is a fetish. I guess for both men and women. That's the thing. So.
It's absolutely a fetish thing. Yeah, it's a massive fetish.
If it was just feet, I would have been like, okay, feet. Because like my ex didn't like my feet. Guys' feet are disgusting. I still wouldn't have done it, but I wouldn't think it was a fetish request. Soles of the feet, yes, that's a fetish request.
That's a little fucking.
That's very specific.
That's a little
because
specific.
the soles are as ugly. They're like, oh, some people like so. I don't know why. I'm not judging.
We don't need to talk about it.
No, we don't. I don't understand it, but I confirm with
anymore.
I confirm with a friend who's on OnlyFans. And she said, oh yes, that's always the thing. Like it's always the request for the friend. That's like a thing. It's for the friend. It's not for me. It's not for me. It's for my friend.
It's for a friend.
It's a friend. My friend wants to see your pictures of your armpit. I don't know. Which is also a fetish. There's a fetish for everything. Sorry about that. All right. We'll skip the scumbag seller pissed at Pat. But the scumbag seller who wanted $800 for a signed book of me, Ian, is pissed at Pat. You can go look it up on eBay and search for it. little pissy at Pat. So we're gonna bring up GameStop real quick. They're going through I guess a strategy change potentially with the Chewy CEO that came on board, or ex-CEO, and bought 13% of the shares, and trying to force the board of directors to see his vision of basically becoming a digital storefront.
Right. A trusted digital storefront.
Get rid of physical, which is solid if this was 2010. That would have been a great, or 2012 would have been a great strategy to do that.
Yeah, if it was 2010 and you started to make that transition, and you had 10 years to get people kind of in the mindset that this is where you go to buy games online. Mm-hmm. I think that could have been something that could have helped GameStop at least stay relevant for a little bit longer. I don't know how long, but it's like we talked about when they said they wanted to do the gamer experience stores. These are things that might not have been bad ideas had you done them before you were on your last lifeline.
So now it's been coming out that's pretty much a problem, is that like he has this, the CEO and members of the board that are so tied to bringing back the physical space and doing, when that's clearly not working.
No,
clearly hasn't worked. And so, which I'm not sure this is going to work. This is a better strategy. And he did it with Chewy, because Chewy somehow became like the go-to place for pet supplies and food.
Right.
So he wanted to do that with GameStop, but it's too late. And GameStop doesn't have that reputation for being the online retailer.
Correct.
That's the thing. So it's interesting. I don't think it's going to work. This is, what is his name? Cohen. What's his first name? Ryan Cohen, billionaire co-founder, former chief executive of Chewy. So he basically sent an email saying, nobody has attempted to respond except a muddled voicemail with no distinguishable callback number extension. E-commerce requires a customer support team and processes that are responsive. So he's obsessed with customer service, which is good. And he's basically trying to just rewrite how the company works, but it's an uphill battle.
Yeah,
for him to do that. So I'd say sell your stock now that it's high and get out, Ryan. Get out. Don't sink your time into this, but that's just me. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I think one of the things in this article, this is from Reuters, is that it's like a quicker trade-in process via online. You don't like come in the store, you can just mail in.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, I guess that could work. In theory, that would create a lot of issues and a lot of infrastructure you would need. Because it didn't work with the Retro and having the centralized hub that they sent everything to in order to clean and repair. I talked about how much of a disaster that was. Now you got to do that with all the new stuff. And you still have the problem of eventually there won't be any new stuff anyway. So,
yeah,
for the most part. Which will
you're going to run out of physical.
Yeah, it will. That's all I have on the GameStop shit. Talk about Evo real quick, Ian.
Yeah. So Evo, the probably the biggest fighting game tournament. There's a U.S. Evo and there's a Japanese Evo. Well known among people who play fighting games. The tournament was just bought by Sony. So this is big news, but as of right now, it doesn't look like it's actually going to change much about the tournament itself. Last year Evo was canceled because of COVID. Then they went to go do an online only Evo tournament, and that got canceled because one of the original members got in trouble for we talked about
allegedly?
This briefly. Basically hooking up with underage kids.
Allegedly.
So they shit-canned his ass and got him out of there, and we're looking forward to, getting it back on track this year. And Sony has now bought it, and it's going to happen in August. So this is a shakeup. It's a turnaround for Evo.
Online in August, right? It's not going to be in person.
I believe it's online in August. They're keeping the two original heads of Evo in place. And they're not, so far it sounds like it's going to be just fine. They're not limiting the games that will be played. People were concerned because Smash isn't shown for this Evo, and they're like, oh, well, now that Sony owns it, they're not going to let people play Smash. That's not it. Smash is not optimized for online at all. They weren't going to have it last year when it was online only for that same reason.
Sure.
So once Evo is back in person, yeah, it's probably likely you'll see stuff like Smash. They've said that that's not going to affect Sony's ownership of it is not going to affect what can be played at the tournament. They're going to basically let it continue on as it always did. So that means that potentially things like Killer Instinct, which is a Microsoft property, you would be able to see. Smash Brothers, you would still be able to see.
So I guess it begs the question, like, what is Sony looking to get out of this deal? Obviously, there's some revenue, but it's like, why is it worth their time to get into this business?
I think it's to honestly, I think it's to kind of solidify themselves as the fighting game fans brand. The last generation. Fighting game players tended to gravitate towards Sony because it's the only system that had Street Fighter V. It was the only system that had Guilty Gear. It was the only system, I believe it was the only system to have King of Fighters 14. So
it's promote their gaming stuff as well, probably.
Yeah. Like I said, it's to keep Sony in the mind of the fighting game community. I think they look at it as a good way to strengthen their brand.
Yeah, I forgot about Street Fighter V. That was timed exclusive, right?
No, Street Fighter V was.
Well, it came to Windows, but who cares about Windows?
Okay, yes. Okay. In terms of console, it was exclusive. To
okay,
Sony.
So that is a big deal.
Yeah.
So they make sure their whatever fighting game exclusives they have are going to be there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that I'm not sure what will be kept exclusive in this next generation. But like I said, it's to just keep Sony in the mind.
But it's also maybe then
those fans
a play and making sure nothing gets exclusive to Microsoft for fighting. Because maybe Sony, but you know what? You're not on our console. Maybe we can't slot you in this year. Maybe maybe we can't slot in that Killer Instinct or whatever else Microsoft has as exclusive fighting game. Well, I don't know anything besides Killer Instinct. Is there something else?
No, I don't. No, because no.
So maybe, man, being cynical, but that's always the thing. Maybe we can't fit that. We're gonna fit in the game about little children fight each other in the playground instead. I don't know. So, that's interesting. It's interesting. I wonder how much they bought it for. That wasn't disclosed.
Yeah, I don't think it was mentioned.
We have some Super Switch news. Not enough to be a main topic. This is why we put this stuff in the intro. People ask, why did you put this intro? Because it's so quick and dirty.
Sure.
So we talked about how the OLEDs were getting made, 720p, 7-inch screens. Now we have potential information about the Nvidia chip that's going to be used, which we knew was going to be Nvidia before. They're switching from the Tegra chip. It's going to have what's called, I didn't know it's a thing, DLSS support, which is proprietary to Nvidia. So what does that mean? So it uses, this is above my pay grade from this article from The Verge, makes use of neural networks to reconstruct game images in real time at a higher quality. Wow. Different versions of the technology have variously relied on the GPU's tensor cores and training the AI on specific games. But the upshot is that you can render a game at a lower traditional resolution and get a much higher output with minimal performance penalty. If there ever was something for Nintendo to go after for their hybrid console, it's this.
Sure.
This is big news if this works. This is big. Big. Because when you go from, when you talk about resolution, it's not, you're talking about dramatically increasing the power you need to render this stuff. When you go from 480p to 720p, that's what is that, 50% more details than that, or more, probably more than that if you do the actual math. So it quickly scales up. If you can somehow keep the power you need on your system lower than what the actual output looks like, you can do anything then, or do a lot more. That's incredible. So if it's a 720p output on your screen, we'll just say for Breath of the Wild, maybe you're only actually, the game is actually only running at 480. So then you get better frame rate, but it still looks 720. And your 4K, maybe you're only running that at 1080p really in essence, or in between 1440, but it looks 4K. So it's a lot less strain on your guts. So that's
less strain on your guts.
That's what it is. That's what it's doing. I didn't know this was a technology. This is incredible that this can do this.
It's promoting good gut health.
Yes, good gut. Good. Yeah, it's like having a yogurt.
Probiotics.
Having a yogurt in the morning.
Good for your internal
Did you know
flora.
about this technology? I didn't know this was a thing.
No, I did not.
This is fairly new. It was introduced with Nvidia's RTX 20 series GPUs. This is a game changer. That means you'll get closer to getting your if you want your cyberpunk type of games, you'll be able to do it in theory, or a lot closer to doing it.
Get something similar,
because the game we're running it at a lot lower resolution than what your eyes are seeing. That's awesome. Computers, huh?
Computers,
AI
nifty.
stuff,
neat.
Yeah. No, this is great. I'm finally, my predictions are going to come true. We're going to see the new GTA on the Switch. I thought we'd see that with our Switch, but now you can probably do it. You can probably do it.
Excuse me.
You can run it like a potato, but then it'll look like a real potato. No, it'll look like a baked potato. What?
Moving on before Pat gets further into that analogy. So big news in terms of preservation. Project Deluge is happening. What's Project Deluge? Project Deluge is over 700 PlayStation 2. Well, Project Deluge is bigger than this, but the first thing that we've gotten from it is over 700 PlayStation 2 prototypes. This was done by Hidden Palace with help from Jason Scott of the Internet Archive, and basically they were able to get a hold of a very large collection. They're working on preserving a very large collection that was acquired by one person, and they've been granted access to it, so they're going through all of it and backing it up and verifying it and putting it out there for people to check out. That's massive. They haven't. So the last time something like this happened, they said was 2008 when they released about 1,000 various Sega.
So this is 700 PS2 early builds, prototypes, E3, and press release demos. Holy shit!
Yeah, I was gonna say that. So I think like Crash Wrath of Cortex, they said they have an E3 version of that. They've got Spyro.
Crazy Taxi.
There's tons. There's
Final
literally
Fantasy
more
X2.
than I could even begin to cover here.
That's insane. That's a huge. I mean, God, it's like a how many PS2 games are? It's like a huge chunk of the library again, prototypes and early builds.
And they've mentioned that there are duplicates and stuff like that, but they're tracking all that. They've got tables and stuff that you can use to compare.
850 gigabytes of data. Wow.
On the top of the FAQ, it says, how can you help? If you want to help, get a account for the cutting room floor and start downloading these prototypes and checking them against the released versions and see what the differences are. Hey, but yeah, this is really exciting. And
the golden age of game preservation. So that the last year and a half, it's the golden age of it's the dawning of Aquarius.
Yeah.
Age of Aquarius. This is every week. It's like we have to start ignoring this stuff. Like I just saw this morning, they're like, oh, we found Euphoria NES prototypes. It's like a couple of different builds. It's like, okay. It's like every other day now. There's this stuff. It's great.
It is.
It's great. All I had to do was just shame some people here and there, and other people do that. And that's all. Everyone's working together. It's fantastic. I'm not saying it's because of that, but it helps. That's all. It helps. So, being that's a PlayStation preservation topic, we will segue into the main podcast now.
Into the main podcast.